Hey friends, and welcome back to my channel. If you haven't been here before, my name is Kaylin and welcome. So today I have a really big haul, like a really big haul. So for the record, before I get started, I know in the last haul that I did, which I think was like a month ago, I said that I wasn't going to get any more books, and that was true then. But then we decided that we're going to move into a new house. We bought a new house, and so I started slowly buying more books because of that. So I have a little bit of a big haul. And also, it is my birthday, so yeah, some of these books are birthday books, some of these books are just because we're moving. And I only have this one bookshelf, so once we move, I'll be able to have a new one, and I'm really excited about that. And so these will help kind of fill that one out. So let's get started because I do have a lot. I'm going to be going over them briefly just because I don't want this video to be super duper long. So yes, let's get started. The first one that I have is Modern Fairy Tales by Holly Black. This is her bind up of her 3 books, Tithe, Valiant, and Ironside. So I'm really excited about this. I absolutely love Holly Black and her writing. She's one of my favorite writers of all time, and so I'm excited to jump back in to her fairy world. I think I'm going to love it. I definitely wanted to get this. I know I probably won't like it as much as the Cruel Prince series, but I'm definitely gonna love it. So the next one that I have is The Friend Zone by Abby Jimenez, and I heard about this one actually on Bookstagram. It's kind of cool. I really like being a part of Bookstagram and BookTube because I feel like Bookstagram has a big difference in the books that people read. I see a lot more adult books and a lot more contemporary books. So this was one that I saw there. And this is about a girl named Kristen who is keeping a big secret. She is facing a medically necessary procedure that will make her unable to have children. So I find that premise really interesting. I always have this really big empathy towards women who aren't able to have children. So I'm definitely going to enjoy this. I've heard it's really sad, and it's also a love story. So I'm looking forward to it. The next book that I have is one that I actually have 2 of. So this is Sorcery of Thorns. I talked about this in one of my other videos, but I am so excited for this book. This is the Owl Crate edition, which has the purple and the gold, and then this is the normal edition, which is green and silver. So I just think they're beautiful, and honestly, I'm not mad about having both because they're just gorgeous. So, if you don't know what this is about, it's about a character named Elizabeth, and she is the caretaker of a Hogwarts-esque library where the books whisper things. So she's able to calm these books down. I also heard that there's a really good romance in this, and so I'm really excited about this. The next book that I have is a book by Fredrik Backman named A Man Called Ove, and I have been looking forward to reading this book for a really long time. I really love books about elderly people. I don't know what it is. I think it's because I'm really close with my grandparents. So reading about older people just gets me very sentimental about them. But this is about a man named Ove, and he's really grumpy and he's a curmudgeon, and then this young couple moves in next door and they start to have a friendship, and so yeah, it just sounds so adorable, and again, I just love stories about that sort of thing, so I'm looking forward to reading this one as well. So the next book that I have is Tokyo Ghoul by Shui Ishida. I'm really bad with names sometimes, but this is a huge monster edition of Tokyo Ghoul. I've never read this series before, but this one has 1, 2, and 3 in it. This cover is super creepy as well. I actually kind of love it. And I like how big that these pages are. Most of the time, manga series don't have these big of pages, but I really like that. They're also really thick and wonderful. So I don't exactly know what this is about. All I know is that it's about a man who is half man and half ghoul who lives in Tokyo. Who'd have thought? And I think that there's an anime series out that is based off of this. So I'm excited to read this and hopefully watch the series if there is one. I'm pretty sure there is. So the next two books I got, I actually received from the publishing company, and these are the first books that I've ever gotten from a publisher. I've also been very picky about the books that I accept from other people, just because I want to make sure that I will read them. I have a huge TBR. Huge. And I'm not a super fast reader, so it's kind of hard for me to accept certain books because I just want to make sure that I will actually read them. So with these ones, I knew that I would, mostly because they're middle grade. So this series is called The Crowns of Croswald by D.E. Knight. I was actually sent both of them, which is really awesome. I'm not sure how many are in this series, but they're really pretty books. They have like a matte finish, and yeah, I really like them. They're really nice quality as well. The pages are really nice. And this is about a girl named Ivy who goes to a magic school where she learns how powerful that she is. I love magic school settings, and there's also this dark queen who's trying to take her life and take her magic. So yeah, it sounds really interesting, and I think I'll like it. Also, it was so sweet. The author signed and personalized both of them. So this one says magic awaits, and this one says enjoy the adventure. And so that was really cool and really sweet. So yeah, thanks for sending me these. The next one that I have is Good Omens by Terry Pratchett and Neil Gaiman. This is a really cool edition. I've seen other editions of this book that I don't really love, but this one is just really cool, and I really like the colors in it. So we recently just finished the TV show based off of this book and loved it. Honestly, it quickly became one of my favorite TV shows of all time. And so I knew I had to buy this book, and I definitely want to read it as well. I've heard that the TV show is actually better than the book, which is interesting, but I definitely want to still read it because I love the whole plot of this book. I think it's so funny and interesting. It's about the Armageddon, and there is an angel and a demon who are supposed to kind of bring about the Armageddon, but they actually don't really want to. They have fallen in love with this world and humans, so they kind of are trying to find the Antichrist who is missing and stop the Armageddon from happening. The show was absolutely hilarious, and I'm really excited to read this because I think it'll be really funny as well. Next book that I have is Blackbird by Sam Humphries and Jen Bartel. So this is a graphic novel. This cover though, this was why I bought it, to be honest. I think it is just gorgeous. The illustrations kind of remind me of Avatar a little bit, and I really like them. I'm not sure what this is about at all. I just know that this cover was beautiful, and yeah, I definitely want to read it. And I'm always looking for new graphic novels to read. So the next book I have is Eve of Man by Giovanna and Tom Fletcher. So this is about a girl who is the first girl born in 50 years, and she has to choose between love and the future of the human race. So I really like that premise, and I think it'll be an interesting book to read. This cover is really, really pretty. I love the gold, and the naked book cover is really pretty as well. Ooh, it's so shiny. So yeah, this is like a brand new release, and I saw it in the stores and I was like, yes, give me that. And plus I really liked the summary as well, so hopefully it'll be a good book. The next book that I have is The Girl Who Drank the Moon by Kelly Barnhill, and this is about a town where the people sacrifice their children to this witch who lives in the forest, and she actually ends up being a good witch and takes care of these children. She also has a dragon, which is really cool. It is a middle grade book, which I love, so yeah. The next book that I have is Crown of Feathers by Nikki Palpretto, and I have heard really good things about this book. I don't know a lot about it. The only thing I do know is that it's about a Phoenix writer. I mean, that's all I need to know, to be honest, especially when people have loved it so much. Next book I have is Rules for Visiting by Jessica Francis Kane, and this was definitely a cover buy for me. I love this style of cover. I don't know what it is because it's kind of simple, but it has little plants, so maybe that's why. And I really liked the writing as well. But this is about a 40-year-old woman named May, and over the years she's turned inwards and hasn't really spent a lot of time with her friends and family. So this is about her adventure to reconnect with some old friends, and she compares her journey to the Odyssey, which I think is really cute. And yeah, it's pretty much her exploration of friendship in a digital age, which sounds really interesting to me. And yeah, I think that I'll really like it. It's also a really small book, so yeah, it'll be an easy read as well. The next book I have is Furyborn by Claire Legrand, and I honestly have no idea what this is about. I know it's about two queens, and they have different timelines, and the story is told from both of these perspectives, I think. But this cover is gorgeous. Honestly, this is like one of my favorite covers ever, and I've heard really good things about it. So yeah, I got it because it's really beautiful. Also, it has deckled edges, which I actually like. I know people don't like it. I think it's because it's harder to read, but I don't know. Anyway, yep, I got this book as well. The next book I have is The Unhoneymooners by Christina Lauren, and I don't know a lot about what this book is about either. I've heard that it's really good, really, really good. And I also had a friend tell me that it's good to go into this book without knowing a lot about it. So that's what I'm doing. And I love this cover. I think it's so pretty. I know it's a love story, but that's pretty much all I know about it. Yeah, so I'm excited to read this one though. The next book I have is The Kingdom by Jess Rothenberg, and honestly, I got this book because Britt, the bibliophile, did a video on it. When she mentioned that it was like Westworld, but in like a Disney sort of setting, I was like, yes, that's amazing, because I love Westworld and I love Disney World. So I think I'm really gonna like it. I know that this is told in like a trial sort of way, but it's about a murder and everyone thinks that this robot girl did it. This book I have is Where the Crawdads Sing by Delia Owens. This was another Bookstagram buy for me, but honestly it sounds really, really good and I've heard really good things. So it's about this girl who is called the Marsh Girl. She lives in North Carolina and she's very solitary. It's kind of like a murder mystery because everyone thinks that she's the one that did it, but she's actually really kind and gentle. I'm interested to see where the story goes, and I think the setting will be really cool. It's also historical fiction, which I like, so yeah. The next book I have is Seanan McGuire's Middle Game, and after reading her other series, the Wayward Children series, I definitely knew that I wanted to read this because I am a big fan of her writing. So this is about two twins named Roger and Dodger, and it takes place in like an alchemy sort of kingdom, which is really interesting. I don't know much else about it. I know that the two brothers are kind of powerful with their magic. So yeah, I have heard really good things about this as well. And anything that Seanan McGuire writes, I'll probably try to read. So yeah. The next book I have is Station 11 by Emily St. John Mandel, and this is a post-apocalyptic sort of book. There's this flu pandemic that breaks out, and this book takes place in two timelines, one of them taking place after the pandemic and one of them before. And so it's kind of about what you would miss the most if you lost everything. So I think it's going to be a really good book. It also follows a girl who goes into this settlement full of musicians and actors. So I think that sounds really cool. And I've heard really good things about this one. So yeah, I'm looking forward to reading it. Next one I had is The Beholder by Anna Bright. And I have it because of it's a Fairy Loot edition, which is absolutely gorgeous, by the way. Pink sprayed edges and this really pretty rose gold. It's about a girl named Sela who refuses an engagement. So her stepmother sends her on this ship where she is to find a new suitor. So yeah, I think that sounds really good. And it's romance, so you know I like that. Okay, the next book I have is The Candle and the Flame by Nafiza Azad, and this is a beautiful cover. This was another book that when I saw the cover online, I was immediately drawn to it. It takes place along the Silk Road, which I'm so excited about. I just love reading about that history, and I'm excited that there's a fantasy story based in it. So I don't exactly know 100% what it's about, but I know it's about a girl who somehow gets magic and she's on the Silk Road. That's pretty much all I know. But Silk Road, magic, count me in. So yeah, I'm really excited to read this one as well. The next book I have is We Are Okay by Nina LaCour. This was a book that I saw at the bookstore and I kind of just was drawn to it. So I researched it a little bit while I was there and decided that I would get it. It sounds like a really heartbreaking but good story. It's about a girl named Marin, and she has been hiding these secrets for a long time, which has kind of caused her to be really lonely. So when a friend visits, she starts to kind of like uncover these secrets that Marin has been hiding for so long. And it sounds really good. I think it's a little bit of a mystery, but also just her trying to like cope with her loneliness and get out of that. So I'm looking forward to it. And then this is such a pretty cover. Also, the inside is really pretty. So yeah, it's also a short one, which I love. Next book I have is On the Come Up by Angie Thomas. So I actually have not read any of Angie Thomas's books, and I really have wanted to for so long, but since I'm not much of a contemporary reader, it's been a long time coming. So I decided that I would finally pick this one up. I don't know why I decided to pick this one up instead of some of her other books, but I just did. I think mostly it was because I know that this movie is going to be coming out soon, and I really like reading books and then watching their movies. I think what it's about is like an up and coming rapper trying to make it. I also heard that there's actual rapping in here, and the audiobook, the narrator also raps, which is really cool. I definitely want to listen to the audiobook and read along with it. The next book I have is In His Image by Jen Wilkin. I've been wanting to get more like self-care sorts of books lately, and so when I saw this one, I was just kind of drawn to it. One of my friends on Instagram, I think, read it, and it's about 10 ways God calls us to reflect his character. So I love reading books like that sometimes, especially when I'm in a little bit of a funk. So I think this will be a great one to pick up. It's really short and it's like separated into sections, so I think it'll be really easy to read. So yeah, also this cover is perfect. Orange and yellow and green and white, those are like my favorite color combinations. So yeah. The next book I have is Wild and Crooked by Lee Thomas, and this is about a character named Kaylin, and it's actually spelled the exact same way. So her dad actually murdered someone back when he was a teenager, and she has to go back to this town where he murdered someone at. It's still a very big deal to all of the citizens that live there, so if anyone found out who she was, she would be instantly hated. And then there's also another character named Gus, and he has cerebral palsy. And his dad is the one who got murdered. So I think they kind of form a friendship, but maybe don't know that about each other. I don't know exactly, but I'm interested in this book, and I think it'll be a really cool book to read. Also, this cover is really, really pretty. The next book I have is The Lion Tender by Kate Allen. So this was definitely a cover buy for me, but I've been trying to research these books before I buy them, which is really good. So this is about a girl whose mother is a marine biologist, and she actually has an accident while she's out at sea. So it's about this little girl coping with grief and losing her mother. It sounds really interesting. I love the marine animals in the background, and it also has really pretty illustrations on the inside, so I'm looking forward to reading this. It's a middle grade book. The next book I have is Fruits Basket by Natsuki Takaya. Sorry again. But this, I don't know what it's about actually. I have no idea. But I had a friend recommend this to me as another manga to read, so I picked it up. I know there's like a bunch of them in the series as well. I think there's like 11, and this is kind of a big manga. So I'm looking forward to reading it. I'm a little unsure about the illustration style. It looks, I don't know, it's just different. So I'm gonna read it, see if I like it, and hopefully I will. The next book I have is The Devouring Gray by Christine Lynn Herman. So I've heard this is a lot like Stranger Things, which I love so much. And the new season is coming out in July. I didn't even know this until like a few days ago, and I'm really excited. But this, I think, follows a bunch of different teenagers as they kind of try to uncover a mystery of the Gray. So I don't exactly know what else. I think there's a monster, but it sounds really cool, and I've heard that it's really, really good. So I definitely want to read it. The next book I have is Aurora Rising by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff. I definitely wanted to read this book immediately when I found out about it. Because I love the Illuminae series, which was written by these two as well. So yeah, I heard it's like a Guardians of the Galaxy sort of book, which I love the Guardians of the Galaxy as well. So I definitely wanted to read it. I feel like that's like the perfect combination. Jay Kristoff and Guardians of the Galaxy, yes. It also has kind of cool transcripts or like map sort of things inside of it, which I just love when they do that. I think it's so cool. Yeah, and this cover's just gorgeous. The next book I have is Disappearing Earth by Julia Phillips. So this, gorgeous. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous cover. I love it so much. This is about two girls who disappear in Russia, and it's kind of about these family members and friends who come together a few years later to try to solve their death and disappearance. And so it's kind of about their relationships and how they are tied together. It sounds really interesting. I love Russian sort of settings, so I definitely think I'm gonna like it. Next one I have is The Language of Thorns by Leigh Bardugo. So this is a collection of fairy tales written by Leigh Bardugo. That's amazing. I actually did not know that. I've seen people have this book before, but I didn't know that it was a collection of fairy tales, which is amazing. I definitely know I'm gonna love it. And this book is so pretty. I love the copper on it. I think it's so pretty with this turquoise color, and the inside of it is just really pretty as well. Each of the pages kind of builds up on each other, which is really cool. So yeah, I just know I'm gonna love this because I love fairy tales. So yeah. The next book I have is Hot Dog Girl by Jennifer Dugan. I bought this because of the summary. I just laughed so hard. I don't know what it was about this summary, but I loved it so much. It's about a girl named Eloise, and she is determined to make the best summer possible, but she ends up getting a job at this fairground sort of place as a hot dog. Meanwhile, everyone else is like a princess, a pirate, a prince. So it just cracked me up. I don't know why, but it did. I don't know if there's romance or anything, but I know she has like a best friend, and yeah, it sounds really cute. I also love the back of this because she's like laying on a bench in her hot dog costume with her best friend. I think it's so cute. So yeah, this sounds like a perfect summer read as well. The next book I have is Recursion by Blake Crouch. So this is a book of the month pick that I picked, and it sounded really interesting to me. It's about this mysterious affliction that causes its victims to remember memories that they never lived. I think that sounds so interesting. So the main character, I think, is trying to solve this mystery, and most people think it's some sort of illness or some sort of disease or something like that, but the main character finds out that it's actually more terrifying than that. So it sounds really interesting, and I think it'll be a really cool book. I just love the idea of people remembering memories that they never had. I think that's really interesting. So yeah, hopefully it's a good read. The next one I have is Fangirl by Rainbow Rowell. So I have heard nothing but good things about this book. It sounds like the perfect book for me as well. So it's about a fanfic writer who is writing a fanfic of Harry Potter-esque sort of characters. So that just sounds so cute. That's all I know about it, but I think I'm gonna love it. I've never read a Rainbow Rowell book, so I'm really excited to read one of her books finally. This is the collector's edition as well, so it's really pretty. It has illustrations on the inside, which is so cute. Look how cute. And it also has this really cute little coffee cup on the cover. So yeah, I think I'm gonna like this book, and I think it'll be a good book to kind of like push me into contemporary a little bit more. Next one I have is The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I had to buy this. I feel like that's pretty obvious. She's definitely one of my new favorite authors, so I wanted to read this. I've heard really good things. I've heard some people love it more than Daisy Jones and the Six, and some people like it less, but I just think I'm gonna love it no matter what. It's told in an interview style format, and it's about an old Hollywood actress and her 7 husbands. So yeah, it sounds really, really good, and I'm excited to read more of her writing. Okay, we've reached the last book. Thanks for sticking in here with me. So this last one is Foundry Side by Robert Jackson Bennett. So this cover is so cool. I don't know, I'm just really into this cover, but this is about a thief who is a really good thief, I guess, and her next target is an ancient artifact, and she has a magical ability to where she can touch things. She knows the history of them. I think this is this book. But yeah, it sounds really interesting and I've heard really good things about it, so I'm excited to pick it up. All right, friends, so those were all the books that I got recently. It's a lot, I know. But I think I went through them pretty quickly, and honestly, I am so excited about all of them. But I think this is a really good haul. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know if you've read any of these books and what you've thought about them, and I'll see you guys next time. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.